people. This is Rachel Kirkland, the Modern Shaman, and I'm here to answer your questions. Welcome to question and answer time. It's my third video today. I'm cranking through these things, even though I'll probably publish them every week, one a week. I'm trying to do that now. All right, but I'm going to jump straight into the question and just let you know if you'd like to ask your own question, feel free to visit my website at themodernshaman.net. Send me your question, and I'll put it on the list. Okay. So today's question, here we are. My question for you is, how can someone feel joy in life again after a traumatic event disrupting our chakras balance and our energy reception from the universe? Okay, so when you feel like a traumatic event has caused you to have some sort of chakra imbalance within yourself energetically, and then you're not able to receive as much energy from the universe. Okay. How can we feel joy in life again? Okay. Can y'all hear that? That's my Roomba out there cleaning outside. All right. Stay focused here, Rachel. Joy in life. Okay. Now I'm going to give you a real simple answer to this. How do you find joy in life? You follow things that make you feel joyful. Okay? That part's easy. Okay? You follow things that make you feel joyful. Now, if you don't know what those are, start playing. Start doing things that seem sort of interesting to you. And then amplify the energy of fun involved in them. Things that make you laugh. Things that you feel silly about. Things that inspire you. Maybe it's even just looking at inspiring art or articles, reading something. Things that make that little spirit in you feel light and not heavy. It's that energy of alignment. So you can just amplify those things bit by bit, breadcrumb by breadcrumb, a little bit at a time. Just amplify, amplify, amplify. Now, the other part of your question, when you feel like something has kind of knocked you off energetically and you're off balance, or some of your chakras have shut down, and you're not receiving as much energy, I would address those things first through, I would probably do a chakra cleanse, like go through your chakras and cleanse them out. There's some of those on YouTube that you can look up, or you can go to a practitioner that does energy balancing, maybe Reiki or shamanic healing, or there's all sorts of practitioners that focus just on energy. Some are sound healing, whatever you feel drawn to. You can go to a practitioner specifically to unblock any sort of blocks that trauma has caused you. For me, this looks different with every client that comes to me for energy healing. A lot of times I will assess, I'll use my medical intuition and like my internal sight to look at their body physically, like the organs, but then I'll also look at their energetic body to see if there's any energy blockages, because they are connected. So if there's some sort of organ that's shutting down, there's some sort of energetic, spiritual catalyst that's making that go on too. They're all connected. So the healing has to happen on all levels as well. Now, the fastest way to heal is to know that you're healed, to know that you're perfect. A lot of us can't vibrationally get there. We can't jump from like, I'm totally sick and have cancer and in the hospital, to I'm perfectly fine, I'm perfect and completely healthy. Because we've created kind of a pattern energetically, neurologically in our mind, some people have trouble jumping from one to the other. Now, can you get there and be completely healed? Yes. But is that hard for a lot of people? Yes. So if that seems unreachable to you, then you kind of bridge yourself there, like through practitioners that can help you energetically. And like I said, when you come to see me, I may do that energetic rebalancing, but it also is typically coupled with some sort of purging process of getting out what it is that's blocking you, be it resentment, depending on where it's held, anger, resentment, you know, it may have been abuse, it may have been whatever that traumatic event is. And sometimes we get that out through writing, sometimes we get it out from literal, like purging, like throwing up, and it's different. And I typically ask spirit what would be most effective for their physical body and their mental body and their spiritual body. And then I suggest those things. Again, it's different for every client. I can give you some examples. In general form, I would say the most common thing that Spirit kind of guides people to do is to clear out a lot of their throat chakra issues, meaning they're not expressing what's going on inside their body. So there's not a form of getting all of that toxicity out. So if there was that traumatic event, they haven't processed it verbally, they haven't told anyone about it, they haven't got it out of their body. So it's in the body and it's blocking energetically, or it's stifling things, or it's making them create disease within the body. So a lot of times Spirit will say, write it down, burn it, or write it down, bury it, or write it, or go in your car and scream it into a pillow, or see some other ones. A lot of spitting it out. Sometimes throwing up is pretty common, that Spirit says needs to like fully come out. Sometimes like in chunks, like they have to drink castor oil or something to try and get that, because it's such a thick kind of blockage. But there has to be a lot of times a form of expressing out of the body of that traumatic energy that they're still storing. And then there has to be a form of release and sometimes this looks like forgiveness, sometimes this looks like saying goodbye, sometimes this looks like realizing why you were holding on to that in the first place. If it's something you've tried to get rid of for a long time, it's still serving you in some way. Otherwise, you wouldn't hold on to it. So to look at, why do you feel like this is still serving you? Getting really honest with yourself. And why do you feel like you still need it? Does it give you some sort of feeling of penance? Did you feel guilty about something? And now that your body is in a crappy, has disease, somehow it feels like you deserved it. A lot of times we hold on to things that feel like a sort of penance for us. Whatever it may be, I would look and ask yourself, why did you hold on to it? How do you feel like it was serving you? So you might need some sort of, like I said, release. And sometimes these are visualizations that I'll do with people, like waving goodbye to a certain loved one, or waving goodbye to a certain event, or putting it in a hot air balloon basket and then like sending it away, blowing it away. Also, there is, and I have a video on YouTube about this, about how to recreate a memory energetically. So if there's something that's particularly tragic and traumatic to you, that in a guttural response, it's like you can't seem to release it in terms of emotional body, you can recreate that memory. So I'm not going to go through that whole process, but watch my other video on how to recreate a memory. So this is just basically energetic repatterning. This can be stuff from past lives that's still with you karmically, or it can be things from this life. But it's just repatterning your energetic. Sorry, my low battery. It's just repatterning your energetic ripples that are playing out in your life. So that's an option. Seeing if anything else coming up from Spirit. And lastly, you need to believe in healing. You need to believe that you're done, you're healed. That's what Spirit was saying. That a lot of people go through these processes and then they still hold on to the belief that they are not healed, that it is not effective for them, that it did not work. So they'll let something small trigger them into believing that they still have the cancer, or they'll let something trigger them into believing that they're still energetically blocked and cannot receive any blessings from the universe. When say you go through all of this stuff and you're processing this traumatic event, you're repatterning the memory, you're doing the work, and then, maybe 6 months later, something gets triggered in you and it brings up an old response that you thought you had worked through. The key then is to drop that, let it go, and just be like, it's not a big deal. Don't give any energetic weight to it. that's kind of like your opportunity to start either dragging yourself back into old patterns or to remind yourself that pattern no longer exists for you. And so even though the trigger reminded you used to have that trigger, it can stop there. And you can just be like, no big deal. I don't have that issue anymore. Moving on. Sorry, my stomach is hungry. It's like, blah, blah. So reminding yourself that you've already worked through that issue, that's not a big deal, that you don't need to go back and readdress it, and believing that fully. So much of this is held in your belief system. So believing that you're healed, believing that this energetic block has been cleared, and acting on that belief. So I've shared before in my, I don't know what video, but somewhere about my psychic story, I've shared about how I used to, when I was probably in about, I don't know, 5th grade or something as a child, maybe 10 years old, I started blocking all of my psychic connections because I got frustrated at the premonitions I was getting because I didn't feel like people were listening to me or weren't helping me. So I blocked it out of fear or frustration or whatever it may have been. So I blocked and blocked and blocked this energy. And then when I got older and I wanted to try and access it, I didn't know how to like unblock it. Some of that blocking was subconscious. I wasn't necessarily purposefully blocking the energy. I just didn't want to see it anymore. And so I stopped getting those premonitions and I didn't know how to bring them back. So I did a hypnosis session that was pretty much led, I mean, the practitioner was fantastic. She was great. But I had asked my guides, how do I unblock this block? And they said, do a hypnosis session and do it with this person. So I went to them asking for that. And I don't feel they're not like a hypnosis person. It's not like something that they do for lots of clients. But they did it for me and it was effective. So then I had this experience where I was choking up this little blue hairball of, energy and all of this stuff. But afterwards, again, I had to believe that experience unblocked me. There was a space in there that thought, well, that was just like a visualization. I was in hypnosis and I was seeing that. I wasn't like actually throwing something up. I mean, what if it's still blocked? What if I can't see my premonitions? All of that stuff. So there was a time period when I just had to say, it's gone. The block is gone. Before I even saw the manifestations of it being gone, before the premonitions started coming back. Although some things started coming back pretty quickly, and I held on to that faith. I started remembering past lives, but my focus was to get my premonitions back, not necessarily on past lives. So in my head, I still could have gone, I didn't unblock it. It didn't work. But I didn't go there. I just told myself that was effective. Spirit told me that would work. I did it. It worked. The premonitions will come back when when they're needed. And they did. But again, sometimes there's a time lag there. So you need to believe that what you've done has been effective in its totality, like completely effective for you. And it's done. Completely done. Okay, I'm going to end it there. It is finished. Jesus' last words. My last words. I love you guys.